Oh, I think I'm on. Oops. Okay. So we're coming to you live from CAG's living room. I thought I would do the little screen for you to freak you out, and I don't want you to miss my hand gestures for what could be our last video together. So yesterday, for your trip, we left off with World War I. So unfortunately, I don't have anything fun or exciting to say about World War I because that's it. You see it right there. It kind of makes me sad. We covered a lot with World War I together, and it was a really big deal. Like I called it one of the game changers, turning points in all world wars. But that's all they get, and it's kind of hidden too. So all the other monuments we just talked about, they're like kind of right off this path. And unless you go looking for it, it's surrounded by these trees. So go look for poor little World War I. They deserve to be remembered. So there's that guy. Next one. Now, a lot of these you probably wouldn't have seen on your trip anyway. We never actually got, or I never got the official itinerary. So you're not actually missing out on any of them. So I'm just going to introduce them for when you guys do get to go, maybe this summer when everything opens up again. So this is the MLK Memorial. So this one's beautiful. It's just in a beautiful location. You can see it's right on the water. And this kind of gives you a little walkthrough of some of the important civil rights things that, again, we've covered together just recently. So a lot of people actually miss this one. I think a lot of people forget it's even there. So don't miss out on that one. It's difficult to park near it. Maybe do a bike tour. I've tried that. That's pretty fun. And go check out the MLK Memorial. The other one is also a little bit isolated. It's you have to kind of take a separate trip to get to this one as far as walking really far or taking your bike because parking's horrendous. And this is Thomas Jefferson Memorial. This one too is embedded with lots of symbolism, with the steps and, different plaques, marking different things that he spoke and blah, blah, blah. Yes, you've noticed World War I, Abraham Lincoln, all very similar. This is based on Greek and Roman architecture, which has never been my forte of study. But if you didn't know, our Constitution is kind of based on a lot of the things that came from those early on cultures. So a lot of the architecture, a lot of the structures in Washington, D.C. reflect that very early history of, where our Constitution, where our democracy, our republicanism, all that kind of stuff came from. So this is another really great one. I wish we could have done this one together since we also did the Great Depression. So this one is for, that was a giveaway. This one is for Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And this one is also really fun. My kids adored this one because you don't have to necessarily do a lot of reading. You kind of just walk through all of these different segments that are blocked by rocks. It's almost like a little mini maze that takes you through a virtual timeline of FDR and the things he did during his presidency. So this should look very familiar, right? One of the famous photographs of the bread lines during the Depression. We never talked about his little dog, but there he is in the monument. And then there's also these fun structures that, people like my children can climb on and get yelled at by the security guards. So beautiful setting, worth going to. Anyone know what it is? This one was actually hanging in my classroom, if you could remember. So this is where your laws are made, my friends. This is the U.S. Capitol building. I don't know which side is which. I probably should have looked it up and labeled it ahead of time. But one of these sides is the Senate, and one of these sides is for the House of Representatives. And there's a huge open field. If you're, again, walking straight through this way, going down this way, you'll walk through the mall of the Smithsonian Museums. You'll see the Washington Monument. And so it's all, again, centrally located like you saw on the map yesterday. So one year the students actually did get to go in here and check it out. Most years you do not. It's not really all that exciting. They don't let you see too much when you get inside there anyway. But the history behind it's really, really cool. So moving on. Anyone know what this one is? You usually get to drive past this. Nobody really takes the time to go and visit it. So this is your Supreme Court building. Again, same old architecture. This one has a cool history regarding its front door. So there's these big, ginormous gold doors, and on it are 10 pictures, and it's basically 10 images from what, I don't know who made this decision, but somebody deemed who the 10 most important court cases in American history were, and they're kind of represented on that door. So a little cool history there. This is the Library of Congress. So we've gone to this website a couple of times because it's, of course, the wealth of knowledge of different things in American history and beyond. Okay, now, class, We aren't going here on the class trip, nor will they ever. So you're definitely not missing out on this one, but it's just one of my favorite monuments because I think it's really cool. I've never been there personally, but it's definitely on my bucket list. Anyone want to guess what it is? Anyone? Anyone? None of you know? That's so disappointing. So this is did I put it on here? No, I didn't. Ooh. This is at Pearl Harbor, actually. So to go to this monument, you obviously need to get on an actual boat. So you can go to Pearl Harbor and you get on a little boat and it brings you over here. This is one of the ships that got sunk by Japan and is actually still leaking oil under the water today. And if you get to go on here, there's a glass bottom, so you can actually see the ship underneath you. So that one I just think is so amazing. So really, really cool. So here's a map again, but this time we're honing in on the Smithsonian. So in years past, you might get a little bit of free time here and you get to pick a museum that you guys would have wanted to go to on your tour of Washington, D.C. If I were to recommend one, I would go here just because it's so visual and obviously, well, it's kind of more my forte of history. But to be honest, there's like, this one's also usually pretty popular, very cool if you're more a science mind. But there's a whole lot going around here. Sometimes the best part of the whole thing are all the food trucks that actually line up on the road around here and the souvenir trucks and all that. But nonetheless, let's pretend this is an actual history class and take a minute to look at all the different museums. Now, you'll see your direction for today after you get to listen to my fascinating lecture here on Washington, D.C. is to pick one of these museums if you just go to the Smithsonian website, and you're allowed to do a bunch of virtual tours of the museums themselves. So I actually didn't give you like an assignment for this, so it's just on the honor system for you guys to want to learn a little something new today. You can even go to the zoo, which is part of the Smithsonian, which is really cool. They're the ones with the panda bears. I spent a very long time watching the cute little pandas. But pick one, go check it out and do a little virtual tour and educate yourselves a little bit today. So there's the Smithsonian's, and that's where you're going to go to, but the link is already in your Google Classroom. And that's it. So if any of you just really enjoyed doing your little tour of Washington, D.C., just know if you go to the National Park Service, they have a bunch of information on everything and then some that we just talked about. So most of the tourist areas in Washington, D.C., you can find here and get more information about the Lincoln Memorial, about the Ford's Theater, whatever the case may be. So if you're just thirsting for more information, feel free to go there and check it out. So unfortunately, now we have our 4-hour car ride back home and you're all exhausted. So I'll let you guys get some rest from your DC trip. And you know what? If you get a chance, hop on a plane and go visit Hawaii today as well. So miss you guys and I'll talk to you later. And bye-bye. Okay, you guys need to leave me alone, but I can't shut out because there we go. Still going. I'm in a black screen. We can't go anywhere. All right, now I'm closing out. Bye.